Good day, students. Welcome to mathgotserved.com. In this clip, we're going to be going over how to multiply binomial expressions. Don't forget, we have some practice problems at the end of this presentation, so be sure to watch the entire thing and try out the practice problems to demonstrate that you've mastered the contents of this presentation. Alright, so the instructions for the examples that we're working on are as follows. We are to multiply the following. Multiply the following. All right, so let's take a look at question number 1. Let's say we're supposed to multiply the following linear binomials: x minus 1 times 6x minus 7. Okay, so whenever you're multiplying binomials, you can simply use the FOIL procedure to multiply them out. X minus 1 times 6x minus 7. Just think about it as double distribution. Okay, we know what FOIL means. FOIL means it's just an acronym for multiplying binomials. All right, so you multiply the first, outer, inner, and then last. Okay, so that's what our FOIL means: first, outer, inner, last. Let's write it this way: first, outer, inner, and then last. Okay, so it's just for binomials. When you're multiplying two binomials, that's how you execute it. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to multiply the first. So this right here, bam, bam, the first term. You multiply these the two first terms. That's the f. So what is x times 6x? Remember, the powers are both 1. So x times 6x, you multiply the coefficients and add the powers of like terms. So there's an imaginary invisible 1 here. So we multiply 1 times 6. That's 6. And then x to the first times x to the first, you add the powers. That's x squared. Okay. So that's first. And then we're now going to go outer. You take this first term, this x, 1x to the first power, and multiply it by the outer term. Okay, so that's outer. What is 1x to the first times 7x? 1, the coefficient here, times 7 times negative 7 is negative 7. And then since there's no variable here, it's like it's x to the 0. So you just bring down the other variable, x to the first power. Okay, so x to the 1 times x to the 0 is x to the 1. All right, so that's our first outer. And then now we're going to shift to the second term of the factor to the left, the negative 1. Okay, so please make sure you take the entire term. You want to take the term and the sign. Okay, so we have negative 1 here, so we're going to distribute negative 1, not just 1. So we're going to go negative 1 times 6x. So we've done first outer. Now this is the inner. All right. What is negative 1 times 6x to the 1? Negative 1 times 6 is negative 6. And then x to the 1, you just bring down x to the 1. Since negative 1 doesn't have a variable, you just bring the other variable down. All right. Because it's as though you're multiplying x to the first times x to the 0 right here, which is x to the first. All right, now we've done the first, outer, inner, and then we're going to do the last, which is negative 1 times the last term right there. That's the last one. So what is negative 1 times negative 7? Negative 1 times negative 7, we multiply in the same sign, so that becomes a plus. 1 times 7 is 7. Okay, so notice how I stacked the linear terms. The reason I did that is because they're like terms. When we're combining by addition, we can combine them together. Okay, so we're just going to add these up. So we have 6x squared. These two are the same sign, so you add and keep the sign. 7 plus 6 is 13. X to the first power plus 7. Okay, now let's go ahead and clean this up, make it look pretty. So our final answer is going to be 6x squared minus 13x. Now if the power or coefficient are 1, you don't have to put them in. So just write this as 13x plus 7. And that's your final answer for question number 1. Okay, let's take a look at another example. Number 2. Let's say we're multiplying 3a to the 4th. Let's change the color here. 3a to the 3a minus 4 times 4a minus 6. Okay, let's try that out. I'm going to use the same procedure that we used for number 1. So we're multiplying two binomials, so we can just simply FOIL them out, first, outer, inner, last. Okay, so let's do the first. So 3a multiplied by 4a, that's our first. Okay, multiply the coefficients. Let's put the powers here. So it's 3a to the 1, and it's 4a to the 1. 3 times 4 is 12. Multiply the coefficients. A to the 1 times a to the 1, you add the powers, a to the 1 plus 1, which is 2. Okay, so 3a to the 1 times 4a to the 1 is 12a squared. That's first. And then we're going to do the outer. Take the first term of the first factor and multiply to the second term of the second factor. That's your outer. Okay. Multiply the coefficients. 3 times, don't forget the sign now, negative 6. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. And then you bring down this variable since this doesn't have any variable, a to the first power. Okay? That's first. Outer. All right, now we're going to FOIL this out. Inner, negative 4. Don't forget to take the sign with it. Negative 4 times 4a to the first power. That's going to be our inner. All right, so negative 4 times 4 is going to be negative 4. And then the second term has a to the 1. You bring that down since the first term doesn't have any variable term attached to it. Just multiply the numbers and bring down the variable of the second. Okay, so 4 times 4 is, no, it's 4 is 16. Sorry. So 4 times 4 is 16. A to the first power. Okay, so that was our inner. And then last, we're going to multiply negative 4 times negative 6. Negative 4 times negative 6. Minus times minus is plus. And then 4 times 6 is 24. All right, so there you have it. We're going to go ahead and add it downwards. And that will give us our final answer. So when we add it downwards, we're going to have 12a squared. Signs are the same. You add and keep the sign. So it's 34a to the first power plus 24. All right, let's do some cosmetics here. So final answer, clean it up. We have 12a squared minus 34a. The power is 1. You don't have to write that down. Plus 24. And there goes your answer for question number 2. All right, let's moving along. Let's take a look at question number 3. So let's say for this one we have 4b minus 5 times 4b plus 5. Let's figure out what the product of these two binomials is. So we have, let's rewrite it, 4b minus 5 times 4b plus 5. Okay, so since we're multiplying two binomials, we can easily FOIL this out, double distribute. Okay, so we're going to take the first term, 4b, and then multiply by the first term here. So that's our first. How do we multiply? Multiply coefficients. 4 times 4, 16. Okay, and then b, you add the exponents of the variables since they are variables on both terms. So b to the 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay, so there goes our first. All right, next we're going to move on to the outer. Multiply the first term again with the outer term. So that's outer. Multiplied in that order. That's the outer. Okay, so 4 times 5. Positive 5 is positive 20. And then bring down the variable b to the first power. Since 5 is just a number, so you just multiply this variable term by the 5. So it's 20b to the first power. Okay, that's first outer. Now we're going to do the inner. take -5. Don't forget to take the sign. Minus 5 times 4b to the first power. So -5 times 4 is -20. And then just bring the variable down, b to the first power, since -5 doesn't have any variable. All right, so we have the first, outer, inner, and then last, -5 times +5. That's your last right there. So -5 times +5 is going to be -25. Okay, and then we just combine downwards. So when we combine downwards, we are going to have 16b squared. And then these two add up to 0 plus 0b to the first power minus 25. Okay, so let's clean it up. Do some cosmetics here, make it look pretty. It's going to become 16b to the second power. Any zero coefficient term, you don't have to write it out. Okay, so we can just drop that. Oh, snap. And then just bring down -25. 16b squared minus 25. There goes your final answer for question number 3. Okay, let's take a look at one more problem and then we'll have you do some practice, okay? All right, so for number 4, let's say you're multiplying 4x plus 2 quantity square. Okay, let's try that out. So what is 4x plus 2 square? What does that mean? The exponent just tells us that we're multiplying this base by itself twice. Okay, so since it's 2 multiplied by itself twice, so it's 4x, that's the first one, times another 4x. If it were, let's say, to the third power, you multiply 3 of them, right? So since it's just squared, it's just 2. All right, let's go ahead and multiply these two binomials. Since it's a binomial times a binomial, will FOIL or double distribute, okay? So take 4x and multiply by the first term here. That's our first. Okay, these have the invisible powers of 1. 4x times 4x, multiply the numbers. 4 times 4 is 16. And then the variable, you add the exponent. 1 plus 1 is 2. 16x squared. That's first. And then we're going to do the outer. 4x times +2. Okay, so you just multiply the numbers. 2 times 4 is 8. +2 times 4 is +8. Okay. And then just bring down the variable since 2 doesn't have any variable component attached to it. All right, that's our outer. So first outer. Now we're going to do the inner, okay? So +2, we're going to take that and then multiply it by 4x. So that's our inner. 2 times 4x. 2 times 4, multiply the numbers. 8, bring down the variable. Since 2 doesn't have a variable attached to it, so that's our inner. And then last, +2 times +2. What is 2 times 2? +2 times +2 is +4. And there goes our products right there. So let's go ahead and simplify it. So when we simplify, you have 16x squared. The linear terms are already stacked, so we just add the coefficients, 8 plus 8, 16, and then bring down the variable, +4. Okay? All right, let's do some cosmetics here. So this one in its final form is 16x to the second power plus 16. Since the variable is 1, you don't have to write it, +4. And that's the answer to question number 4. All right, now let's go ahead and have you do try out some practice problems. All right, so now the task is to multiply the following. So for question number 1, let's see you to multiply 5a minus 7 times 7a minus 3. For question number 2, let's see you're to multiply 3a plus 8 times 4a plus 1. For question number 3, let's have you multiply 4n minus 4 times 4n plus 4. And then for number 4, let's have you multiply n plus 7 raised to the second power. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video presentation at this time and try out the practice problems. All right, so here goes the answers to questions 1 to 4. Go ahead and check your work. So how well did you do with these practice problems? Let us know in the comment section below. If you did well on all of them, go ahead and destroy that like button for us. If you have any questions, let us know in the comment section and we'll be more than glad to assist you. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video and all your support with your likes and comments and subscriptions. Tons of support resources can be found at mathgotserved.com or the links in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.